Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of Ask the Accountant Network's watch series. We're doing the budget live, everybody. And our thing here is a bit of a disclaimer. Don't take everything we say at face value. We are just reacting live to this. But what we wanted to do is create a safe space for all of us to come along and talk about it. So if you're listening to us live, put your comments in there. We're going to be putting them all the way through the show. We'll talk about them at the end. We'll make this as interactive as possible. But the idea is I brought along the watch series team with me. So I've got hashtag audit Amy. Hashtag audit Amy, how are you?
Good, thank you. I don't know if excited is the right word. I think there's anticipation, and a lot of decisions have been on hold to see what's coming out. So this is the calm before probably everyone's mentalness of clients ringing, going, "What do I do? What do I do?" So yeah, let's go.
Exactly. And hashtag MTD Queen is here with us as well. So Suzannah, how are you? And what's your feelings around it all?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, same as Amy, really. Already anticipating those calls and emails. So yeah, this is great because we were all going to watch this anyway, and it's just really nice that we can all do it together. And as Aaron said, yeah, disclaimer, we haven't read the small print. This is just our initial reactions. So yeah,
definitely.
Let's see.
And when it comes in, at the moment it's still Prime Minister questions by the looks of it. So as soon as it comes on, just a little sneak peek of how it's going to look. We're going to be looking into this view. As soon as she comes up on stage, we'll be putting that there, and there will be sound. Don't worry, I've just muted it at this point in time. So hi to Vanessa, hi to Mahul. Hopefully you are doing well. But again, this is your show, people. So keep putting that comments in, interacting with it, all that sort of stuff. And during the show, I will just be popping up people's comments and stuff as we go along. So yeah, I mean, I was going to do a whole predictions and stuff, but we haven't really got time. So let's just let's give one prediction to everyone. Go for it.
I mean, it's hard because Suzannah said she's kind of noticed that it's been leaked already. So I've not read that. So Susanna's going to win every time because she knows.
Yeah,
so
cheating, really.
What's been leaked?
Well, they've confirmed the freeze on income tax thresholds for an additional 3 years to 2030, which I think we were kind of all predicting anyway. It's a nice stealthy way of increasing everyone's taxes whilst not really increasing everyone's taxes, supposedly. But yeah, so I think that's going to be the big one. Obviously, we know about national minimum wage and the increases there because they announced those last night. So those are the sort of major headline ones, I guess. But there's going to be lots of other ones and some interesting ones, I'm sure, that will affect our clients. So
yeah. I think you're spot on. No expenses. Julie's here. Hello, Julie. Thank you for joining us. Can we all run away and hide? She said. Excited to see the updates. Hi, people. Hello to you too, Hi. Danny. Hope you're doing well. And Jennifer says hello from Cornwall. Will be interesting to see what they come up with. Exactly right. Deputy speakers speaking now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us up and running just from a tech point of view. I'm going to have it all playing. We'll try and talk as we can, but we'll go quiet when the
we don't want to talk over any of the announcements
in Downing Street.
So from the tech point of view, can you guys hear it?
As well as specific policy announcements being
and
briefed
in the
out
chat,
to the
someone can just give me a thumbs up to make sure you can hear it as well.
Statements. And I don't need any help. And just a moment ago, it seems the OBR analysis has also appeared online. This all falls short of standards that the House expects. The premature disclosure of the contents of the budget has always
Maybe we should have
been
a budget card
as
and we should have said if this was going to come out on time or not, because so far
and to all the democratically elected members,
would have had a
not
bingo
to
card
mention
on
to
that.
Mr. Speaker and to myself, the Chairman of Ways and Means. The government's own ministerial code cannot be clearer, as set out in paragraph 9.1. When Parliament is in session, the most important announcements of government policy should be made in the first instance to Parliament.
Do you think they're going to try and find out who leaked?
And its members to be treated with respect.
They've got to,
haven't they?
Have
they got to?
Government policy announcements.
Cheers, Andrew. Thank you for that.
Andrew can hear, yeah.
As Chairman of Ways and Means, I have responsibility to oversee the House's consideration of the budget statement and the ensuing resolutions which are described in Erskine May paragraph 36-33.
The effect of the
and
leak
promote
obviously affects the
working
markets and
business
everything.
of Ways and
Exactly.
Means
You know,
in this
people can
House.
be moving
I
money
want
around
honourable
and
members
changing
on all
things
sides of the House to have adequate
beforehand.
opportunity to hold the Chancellor to account, rather than hear and read about new policies on a daily basis in the media. And like many, I also expected better.
Hear, hear.
Before I call the Chancellor of the Exchequer, I remind honourable members that copies of the budget resolutions will be available to them from the vote office in members' lobby at the end of the Chancellor's statement and online. I also remind honourable members that interventions are not taken during the Chancellor's statement, nor during replies to the Leader of the Opposition or the Leader of the Liberal Democrats. I call the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Here we go. Oh, she had her hair done.
Thanks, that. Hashtag head on.
Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Madam Deputy Speaker, it is my understanding that the Office of Budget Responsibility's Economic and Financial Outlook was released on their website before this statement. This is deeply disappointing and a serious error on their part. The Office for Budget Responsibility have already made a statement taking full responsibility for their breach. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are rebuilding our economy. Over the last 16 months, we have overhauled our planning system to get Britain building, forged new trade deals with the United States, India, and the European Union, reformed our visa system to bring the brightest and the best to Britain. We changed our fiscal rules that we inherited from the Conservatives and raised public investment to its highest level in 4 decades. And in last year's budget, I raised taxes on business and the wealthiest to close the £22 billion black hole in the public finances left by the party opposites. And we used that money to fund the biggest ever settlement for our National Health Service. They were the fair and necessary choices. And we faced opposition to them, from opponents to planning reform, who will always demand that the future is built somewhere else, not in their backyard. Opponents to trade, who want to take us down the path of isolation and division. Opponents to investment, who believe that the only good thing a government can do is get out of the way. Opponents who insist that the only way to balance the books is to cut public spending. And opponents who say that we don't need to balance the books at all. But we made these choices for a reason. Because after 14 years of Conservative government, working people demanded and deserved change. Investment, not cuts to our public services. Stability for our public finances. The single most important factor in getting the cost of living down. And economic growth, the best means to improve wages, create jobs, and support public services. That is what our plan, that is what this government and our Prime Minister are all about. Today's budget builds on the choices that we have made since July last year. To cut NHS waiting lists, to cut the cost of living, and to cut debt and borrowing. No doubt we will face opposition again, but I have yet to see a credible or a fairer alternative plan for working people. These are my choices, the right choices for a fairer, a stronger and more secure Britain.
Order. Far too much noise, and I expected so much better from you, Dr. Luke Evans. You're meant to be a leader in your community. Simmer down, Chancellor.
I'm happy for them to shout as much as they like, Madam Deputy Speaker, as long as they do it from the opposition benches where they can't cause any more damage. I said there would be no return to austerity, and I meant it. This budget will maintain investment in our economy and in our National Health Service. I said I would cut the cost of living, and I meant it. This budget will bring down inflation and provide immediate relief for families. I said I would cut debt and borrowing, and I meant it. Because of this budget, borrowing will fall as a share of GDP in every year of this forecast. Our net financial debt will be lower at the end of the forecast than it is today, and I will more than double the headroom against our stability rule to £21.7 billion, meeting our stability rule and meeting it a year early. These are my choices, not austerity, not borrowing, not turning a blind eye to unfairness. My choices are a budget for fair taxes, strong public services, and a stable economy. That is the Labour choice. Growth is the engine that carries every one of our ambitions forward, through stability, investment, and reform. The platform from which British ambition can finally get moving again. Because growth doesn't just appear out of thin air. It is built patiently and stubbornly by people who take risks, by founders who bet their savings on an idea, by firms breaking into new markets, developing new technologies and creating new jobs and new opportunities, by the men and the women who work hard every day in all parts of our country. Our job is not to watch from the sidelines, but to partner with them, backing them every step of the way, to match private enterprise with public ambition. I would like to thank my team of officials at the Treasury for their hard work in preparing this budget. In the spring, the Office of Budget Responsibility forecast that our economy would grow by 1% this year. I said then that Britain would defy the forecasts, and defy them we have. The OBR have upgraded Britain's growth for this year from 1% to 1.5%, reaching the same conclusions as the IMF, the OECD, and the Bank of England, who have already upgraded their forecasts. Today, the OBR have published the result of their review of the supply side of the economy. They are clear that this is not about the last 14 months. It is about the previous 14 years. The legacy of Brexit and the pandemic, and the damaging decisions by the party opposite. Cutting public spending, leaving communities and entire regions behind, starving our economy of investment and weakening our public services. As a result of their review, the OBR are reducing their expectations for productivity growth by 0.3 percentage points to 1% by the end of the forecast. They say today, and I quote, real GDP is forecast to grow by 1.5% on average over the forecast due to lower underlying productivity growth. There is an impact on our public finances too. The OBR say that their productivity forecast will mean £16 billion less in tax receipts by 2030. These forecasts are the Tories' legacy, not Britain's destiny.
Order. It is very hard to hear the Chancellor over all the shouting. And Mr. Holmes, you promised me yesterday you were going to be on top behaviour in the first few minutes. Chancellor.
We beat the forecasts this year and we will beat them again. By boosting trade, not blocking it. By increasing investment, not cutting it. By championing innovation, not stifling it. By backing working people, not making them poorer. Brick by brick, we've been building our economy. Building roads, building homes, getting spades in the ground and cranes in the sky. Growth begins with the spark of an entrepreneur. Half of new jobs in Britain are created by scale-up businesses, and we want those jobs created here, not somewhere else. Our job is to make Britain the best place in the world to start up, to scale up, and to stay. So we're widening eligibility for our enterprise incentives, so scale-ups can attract the talent and the capital that they need. Expanding the enterprise management incentive so more companies can offer tax-relieved share options. Re-engineering our enterprise investment and venture capital trust schemes so they don't just back early-stage ideas, but stay with companies as they grow. Introducing UK listings relief, a 3-year exemption from stamp duty reserve tax for companies who choose to list here in Britain. And to continue this work, I am launching a call for evidence on how our tax system can better back entrepreneurs, and a targeted review with founders and investors at the heart to make the UK an even more attractive place to grow your business. We are sending a simple message to the world. If you build here, Britain will back you. And our retail investment system should do the same. The UK has some of the lowest levels of retail investment in the G7. And that is not only bad for business, who need that investment to grow, it's bad for savers too. Someone who has invested £1,000 a year in an average stocks and shares ISA every year since 1999 would be £50,000 better off today if they'd put that same money into a cash ISA. And so from April 2027, I will reform our ISA system, keeping the full £20,000 allowance while designating 8,000 of it exclusively for investment, with over 65s retaining the full cash allowance. And thanks to our changes to financial advice and guidance, banks will be able to guide savers to better choices for their hard-earned money. Over 50% of the ISA market, including Hargreaves Lansdown, HSBC, Lloyds, Vanguard and Barclays, have signed up to launch new online hubs to help people invest here in Britain. At this budget, consistent with the commitments in our corporate tax roadmap, I will retain our competitive corporation tax rate, the lowest in the G7, and retain our generous full expensing offer for business investments. I will also introduce a new 40% first-year allowance so that businesses can write off more of the cost of their investment up front, while reducing main rate writing down allowances in line with fiscal constraints. Private investment is the lifeblood of economic growth, but growth needs public investment too. When faced with challenges, previous chancellors have chosen to decrease, delay, or cancel capital spending. But low investment is the cause of our productivity problem, not the solution. So my choice is not cuts, not stagnation, but to maintain the additional £120 billion of investment that I provided at the spending review. In transport to link our towns and our cities, energy infrastructure to power our businesses, and housing so people can live near good jobs, paying decent wages and growing businesses. That is the Labour choice. I'm grateful to the Financial Secretary to the Treasury for his work in driving our growth agenda forward. As we allocate investment for the infrastructure that is the backbone of economic growth across our country, today I will commit investment for the Lower Thames Crossing. And we're continuing to drive investment in city region transport, in the Midlands Rail Hub and the Transpennine Route upgrade, along with our commitments to the Northern Growth Corridor, including Northern Powerhouse Rail. It is this Labour government that has overhauled our planning system, and I will today provide further funding to increase planning capacity through a new skills offer, as called for by the British Chamber of Commerce and the Confederation of British Industry. It is this Labour government that has invested in nuclear power, in Sizewell C and in Culham. We are taking forward our commitment to slash electricity prices for thousands of manufacturing businesses. as Make UK and many others have called for. And today I'm pleased to welcome John Finkelton's report, an ambitious plan to cut the red tape that has tied our nuclear industry in knots for decades. And within 3 months, we will set out our plan for delivering his recommendations. We are proud of our industrial heritage, and we are determined to build the industry of the future so that we buy, make and sell more here in Britain. That's why, as we increase defence spending, we are investing in Portsmouth, in Barrow and in Plymouth. And I'm pleased to be supporting Team Derby, an initiative to drive growth in one of our defence industry hubs. It's why we stepped in to save British Steel in Scunthorpe and invested in Sheffield Forge Masters. And it's why we've changed government procurement so we can buy British when it is crucial to our national security. For steel, for shipbuilding, and today for AI, driving innovation and building that great industry here in Britain. But it's not just what we invest that matters, it's how we invest. Putting money and power back in the hands of local and regional leaders. Today, we are devolving £13 billion of flexible funding for 7 mayors to invest in skills, business support and infrastructure. I'm extending the business rates retention pilots in the West of England, Liverpool City region and Cornwall until 2029. I'm providing £30 million for the Kernow Industrial Growth Fund for sectors like critical minerals and marine innovation. I am establishing the Leeds City Fund, a long-term agreement to retain business rates to fund local regeneration projects like the development of Leeds South Bank, and I am allocating £20 million for the new Peterborough Sports Quarter and £16 million for a science centre in Darlington from the Growth Mission Fund. The benefits of investment, the benefits of investment and growth must be built and felt in every part of our United Kingdom. So we are providing an additional £370 million for the Northern Ireland Executive, £505 million for the Welsh Government, and £820 million for the Scottish Government over the spending review period through the Barnett formula. And I am making, sorry, I didn't quite catch that from the SNP. Did they not? Perhaps, Madam Deputy Speaker, they didn't hear. £820 million for the Scottish Government over the spending review period because Anna Sawa asked us to. And I'm making targeted investments in our industrial strategy sectors across the UK. In Northern Ireland, I am providing £17 million to support businesses and strengthen the UK internal market, and backing advanced manufacturing through the Northern Ireland Enhanced Investment Zone. Wales will be the host for 2 AI growth zones, creating more than 8,000 jobs, supported by a £10 million investment in the semiconductors critical for that industry. And we are building the UK's first small modular nuclear reactors with Rolls-Royce at Wilfer in Anglesey. 2 Labour governments working together in Wales to deliver for the people of Wales. And in Scotland, I'm committing over £14 million for low-carbon technologies in Grangemouth, £20 million to renew infrastructure at Inch Green in Inverclyde, and £20 million to redevelop Kirkcaldy Town Centre and Seafront, with construction starting next year. And that's on top of the UK's biggest ever warship export deal with the Norwegian government to build frigates in Glasgow, supporting 4,000 jobs, investment opposed by the SNP, jobs opposed by the SNP, defence opposed by the SNP, but secured by this Labour government. A growing economy needs strong foundations of economic stability, with borrowing, inflation down and investment up. That is good for business, and it is good for working people, so they have more money in their pockets. Economic stability Safeguarded by ironclad fiscal rules is our best defence against rising prices and the best way to improve living standards. We've all seen the alternative. 3 years ago, in their clamour to cut taxes for the richest, the Tories under Liz Truss crashed the economy and sent mortgage rates spiralling and brought pensions to the brink. They've been so loud, Madam Deputy Speaker, and yet I can't even hear them now. Now, I know that the leader of the Green Party is a keen hypnotherapist, and he believes that he can achieve remarkable things using only the power of his mind. Unfortunately, the only things getting bigger under his approach would be the deficit and the rate of inflation. And for all the damage that the Conservative cuts did to our schools and our hospitals, they also doubled the national debt. Our net financial debt this year will be £2.6 trillion, 83% of GDP, meaning that today, 1 in every £10 that government spends is on debt interest. Not on paying down that debt, but just on paying the interest on the debt that we inherited from the Conservatives. My fiscal rules will get borrowing down while supporting investment. The stability rule, that day-to-day expenditure must be met through tax receipts. And the investment rule, which allows me to increase investment whilst getting debt on a downward path. Those fiscal rules are non-negotiable. I met them at the budget last year, I met them in the spring, and I have met them today. While the current budget balance is in deficit by £28.8 billion in 26-27 and £4.6 billion in 27-28, it moves into a surplus of £3.9 billion in 28-29, £21.7 billion in 29-30, and £24.6 billion in 2030-31. More than doubling our headroom against the stability rule and meeting that rule a year early too. And our net financial debt is 83.3% in 26-27, 83.6% in 27-28, 83.7% in 28-29, falling to 83.0% in 29-30 and 82.2% in 2030-31. Madam Deputy Speaker, I said we would cut the debt, and we are, with debt down by the end of the forecast. And going forwards, to support our commitment to a single fiscal event and further strengthen our economic stability, I will follow the recommendations of the International Monetary Fund by assessing the fiscal rules just once a year at the budget. Despite the challenges we face on productivity, the path of our deficit reduction remains broadly the same as in spring. Public sector net borrowing is due to be £112.1 billion, or 3.5% of GDP in 26-27, 3% in 27-28, 2.6% in 28-29, 1.9% in 29-30, and 1.9% in 2030-31, ending at £67.2 billion, translating into an increase in the net cash requirement next year of £4.2 billion, taking the total to £133.3 billion. According to the IMF, we are due to reduce borrowing more over the rest of this Parliament than any other G7 economy. The Conservatives crashed the economy, we are protecting it. The Conservatives lost control of debt, we are getting debt down. The Conservatives let inflation and interest rates go through the roof. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, since Labour took office, the Bank of England have cut interest rates 5 times. I've made my choices. Not reckless borrowing, not dangerous cuts, but stability for our economy, security for our public finances, and security for family finances too. Those are the Labour choices. Madam Deputy Speaker, Tory austerity left classrooms crumbling and waiting lists sky high, weakened our productivity and choked our economic growth. And now they propose a further £47 billion of cuts to our public services. Well, that is equivalent to cutting every police officer in our country twice over. And then there is Reform, who promise more than £100 billion of cuts with no details of where those cuts will come from or who will pay for them. A recipe for devastating damage to our public services. People voted for Labour because they wanted roads that aren't full of potholes. They want police on our streets and they want an NHS that is there when they need it. And we're delivering that. Waiting lists down by 230,000. And not just the 2 million additional appointments we promised, but an additional 5.2 million appointments already delivered since the general election. I joined the Labour Party almost 30 years ago because I could see that the Conservative government that I grew up under didn't care much about schools like mine. Textbooks were rationed. I know that many of you weren't at schools like mine.
There is far too much noise, far too much excitement. People need to calm down a little. Chancellor.
They don't want to hear what the Tories did to schools like mine, but I will tell them. Textbooks rationed, libraries closed, kids herded into porter cabins in the playground, and I came into politics to change that. The money that I allocated at the spending review will fix the crumbling classrooms that the Conservatives left behind and build the schools that they promised but never delivered. And today, thanks to representations from my honourable friends, the members for Wolverhampton North East and Leeds South West and Morley, I will provide £5 million for libraries in secondary schools, building on the 10 million commitment to ensure that every primary school has a school library within this Parliament. And thanks to representations from my honourable friends, the members for Bournemouth East and from Luton North, I am providing £18 million to improve and upgrade playgrounds across England. Madam Deputy Speaker, let there be no doubt that this is a government that is on the side of our kids and who will back their potential. I will not allow the legacies of Conservative neglect to stain our society. Last year, I made changes to the Mine Workers Pension Scheme to ensure that its members receive the fair pensions that they are owed. This year, with thanks to the Minister for Pensions for all his work in this subject, I can go further. I have heard representations from Labour Coalfield MPs, including my honourable friends, the members for Bassetlaw, Blythe and Ashington, Barnsley South, Mansfield and Llanelli. And today I can announce that I will transfer the Investment Reserve Fund of the British Coal Staff Superannuation Scheme to its members. So that the men and the women who worked in our coal industry get a fair deal in their retirement too. And more. Having heard representations from my honourable friends, the members for Banbury and the member for Edinburgh South West, I will index for inflation on pensions accrued before 1997 in the Pension Protection Fund and the Financial Assurance Scheme, so that people whose pension schemes became insolvent, no fault of their own, no longer lose out as the result of inflation. Last year, I also provided funding to compensate the victims of the infected blood scandal, after the previous government failed to budget for the costs of compensation. This year, I have listened to representations from my honourable friend, the member for Eltham and Chislehurst, and my honourable friend, the member for Edinburgh South West. And I'd like to thank the Minister for Employment for her representations over many years on this subject. As a result, I will exempt all payments from the infected blood scheme from inheritance tax, regardless of the circumstances in which those payments are passed down. Madam Deputy Speaker, That is how we should be spending taxpayers' money, on dealing with injustices and building strong public services, not on waste and inefficiency. At the spending review, I set an ambitious target of £14 billion of efficiencies per year by 2029. And I am grateful to the Chief Secretary to the Treasury for driving that work forward, realising savings through AI and automation, and by scrapping NHS England and reducing back office staff by 18,000. At this budget, I will find a further £4.9 billion of efficiencies by 2031, getting rid of police and crime commissioners, cutting the cost of politics and local government, and selling government assets that we no longer have any use for. These savings will be required across government, but for our National Health Service, I will reinvest all of these savings back into the care that people rely on. More nurses, more GPs, more appointments. Restoring the services that faltered under years of Conservative decline and investing in the future of our National Health Service. And today I am announcing £300 million of investment in technology to improve patient service and 250 new neighbourhood health centres. Expanding more services into communities so that people can receive treatment outside of hospitals and get better, faster care where they live. Over 100 of these will be delivered by 2030, including in Birmingham, Truro and Southall. The Labour Party founded our National Health Service, and we will renew our National Health Service. I will take the same approach for defence spending that I take to NHS spending, reinvesting savings back into our national security. In our age of insecurity, Britain will continue to stand with our allies, working in collaboration to secure a sustainable ceasefire for Ukraine and maintaining our commitment to NATO, with the UK set to spend 2.6% of GDP on defence by April 2027. Madam Deputy Speaker, the public rightly expects that we stamp out fraud, error and waste and put that money to good use in our schools and our hospitals and other frontline services. My right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, has already announced that she will claw back excess profits from the use of hotels to house asylum seekers, as we phase out the use of those hotels entirely. And we will consult on reforms to indefinite leave to remain and access to taxpayer-funded benefits. The introduction of digital ID will break the link between illegal migration and illegal working. And the HMRC and the Fair Work Agency will crack down on illicit businesses that blight our high streets and undercut illegitimate firms, enforcing the minimum wage, investigating dodgy businesses, and increasing scrutiny of the gig economy, as well as tracking down fraudulent business owners who vanish without paying their taxes. And I'd like to thank my honourable friends, the members for Great Grimsby and Cleethorpes, Lee and Atherton, and Kensington and Bayswater for their representations on this subject. And I'll take further steps to prevent and track down unpaid tax, which will together, these reforms will raise nearly £10 billion a year by 2030, including through new powers for HMRC to pursue the promoters of tax avoidance schemes. I am building on our successful use of targeted checks on welfare claims to root out fraud and error and prevent public money being paid to people who are not entitled to it. And I would like to thank Tom Hayhoe, the COVID Corruption Commissioner, for his work in helping to chase down nearly £400 million from dodgy pandemic spending and contracts. Tory contracts handed out by Tory ministers to Tory peers and Tory friends. Well, that money belongs in our schools and in our hospitals.
It is so noisy now, we can barely hear the Chancellor. Everybody needs to calm down. Chancellor.
Well, I wouldn't want any honourable member to miss this. So we are chasing down that money, and we've got almost £400 million back from dodgy pandemic spending and contracts. Tory contracts handed out by Tory ministers to Tory peers and Tory donors. Well, that money belongs in our schools and in our hospitals, and we are getting that money back. And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are ramping up sanctions on Russia, and we are freezing known Russian assets. But let me be clear, I don't actually mean the honourable member for Clacton. Under the Conservatives.
Order. You don't need commentary from the backbenches, and Mr. Dewhurst, you are so loud. It's remarkable how far your voice carries. Chancellor.
Under the Conservatives, the cost of our welfare system increased by nearly 1 percentage point of GDP, equivalent to £88 billion in just 5 years. The broken welfare system that we inherited wrote off millions of people as too sick to work, and we will reform that system so that it is a system that does not count the cost of failure, but one that protects people who cannot work and empowers those who can. We have brought back face-to-face assessments for disability benefits. Those are the face-to-face assessments that the Shadow Chancellor got rid of when he was Work and Pension Secretary. And our changes to universal credit will get 15,000 people back into work, a figure confirmed today. The former Health Secretary, Alan Milburn, will review the causes of rising youth inactivity, and we are already taking action. I'm grateful to the Federation of Small Businesses and Small Business Britain for their representations on apprenticeships. And today I'm announcing funding to make the training for under 25 apprenticeships completely free for small and medium-sized enterprises. And funding our new youth guarantee, providing £820 million over the next 3 years to give young people who are let down by the Conservatives the support and the opportunity that they deserve. Guaranteeing every young person a place in college, an apprenticeship or personalised job support. And after 18 months, 18 to 21-year-olds will be offered paid work, not benefits. The Motability Scheme was set up to protect the most vulnerable, not to subsidise the lease on a Mercedes-Benz. And so I am making reforms that will reduce generous taxpayer subsidies, and Motability have confirmed that they will remove luxury vehicles from their scheme, getting the scheme back to its original purpose of offering cost-effective leases to disabled people. And taxpayers' money should not be spent on pensions for people abroad, who only lived here for a couple of years and may never even have paid a penny in tax. The Conservatives allowed thousands of people living abroad to buy their way into the state pension for as little as £3.50 a week, debasing the purpose of our pension system. And so I will abolish access to Class 2 voluntary national insurance contributions for people living abroad, increasing the time that someone has to live or work in Britain to 10 years and increasing the contributions that they must pay. These reforms improve our welfare system. They support our young people, protect those who need it most, and put an end to Conservative waste and unfairness. Madam Deputy Speaker, to break the cycle of austerity, we need a fair and a sustainable tax system, one that generates revenues to fund the public services that we all use and supports investment to grow our economy. That does mean that today I am asking everyone to make a contribution. The previous Conservative government froze personal tax thresholds from 2021 to 2028. And today I will maintain all income tax and equivalent national insurance thresholds at their current level for a further 3 years from 2028. While ensuring that people...
Order! The noise is far too high. Chancellor.
The Right Honourable Lady supported these freezes when her party made them. She might want to forget about it, but the British people never will. At the same time, we are ensuring that people only in receipt of the basic or new state pension do not have to pay small amounts of tax through simple assessment from April 2027. I will also keep the Plan 2 student loan repayments threshold at its 2026-27 level for 3 years. Madam Deputy Speaker, I know that maintaining these thresholds is a decision that will affect working people. I said that last year, and I won't pretend otherwise now. Madam Deputy Speaker, I am asking everyone to make a contribution, but I can keep that contribution as low as possible because I will make further reforms to our tax system today to make it fairer and to ensure that the wealthiest contribute the most. The Conservatives knew that our tax system didn't work. Time and time again, they ducked the necessary reforms, leaving a system unfit for a changing economy, with unfairness that they refused to address. Currently, a landlord with an income of £25,000 will pay nearly £1,200 less in tax than their tenants with the same salary, because no national insurance is charged on property, dividend, or savings income. It's not fair that the tax system treats different types of income so differently. And so I will increase the basic and higher rate of tax on property, savings and dividend income by 2 percentage points, and the additional rate of tax on property and savings income by 2 percentage points. Even after these reforms, 90% of taxpayers will still pay no tax at all on their savings. As well as narrowing the gap between the tax on income from assets and income from work, I also believe that a fair society is one where the wealthiest pay their fair share. The reforms I made last year will raise an additional £8 billion a year by 2020-30 from wealth. I increased taxes last year on private equity, private schools and private jets. I abolished the non-dom tax regime. And this year, I will make 2 changes to cap trust charges and prevent avoidance. I reformed inheritance tax on agricultural and business assets. And this year, I am aligning those reforms with wider inheritance tax rules by allowing the transfer of the 100% relief allowance between spouses, balancing the taxation of these valuable assets with the realities of family life. In this budget, I will take further steps to deal with a long-standing source of wealth inequality in our country. A Band D home in Darlington or Blackpool pays just under £2,400 in council tax, nearly £300 more than a £10 million mansion in Mayfair. And so, from 2028, I am introducing the high-value council tax surcharge in England, an annual £2,500 charge for properties worth more than £2 million, rising to £7,500 for properties worth more than £5 million. This will be collected alongside council tax, levied on owners, and we will consult on options for support or deferral. This new surcharge will raise over £400 million by 2031 and will be charged on less than the top 1% of properties. Madam Deputy Speaker, reliefs in our tax system cost the taxpayer billions of pounds a year, but many of them no longer serve their original purpose. The government rightly provides generous tax relief for people paying into a pension, relieving income tax on all contributions and on the investment itself, as well as national insurance relief on employer contributions, at a cost of over £70 billion a year to the Exchequer. This budget makes no changes to those reliefs or to the tax-free lump sum. But salary sacrifice for pensions, which was intended to be a small part of our pension system, is forecast to almost treble in cost to other taxpayers from £2.8 billion in 2017 to £8 billion by 2030, with the greatest benefit going to the highest earners, or to those in the financial services sector putting their bonuses into pensions tax-free, while those on the minimum wage or those whose employers don't offer salary sacrifice don't benefit at all. That is not sustainable for our public finances, putting pressure on the tax that everyone else pays. And so I am introducing a £2,000 cap on salary sacrifice into a pension, with contributions above that taxed in the same way as other employee pension contributions. That is a pragmatic step so that people, especially on low and middle incomes, can continue to use salary sacrifice for their pension without paying any more in tax than they do now, and to give individuals and employers time to adjust to these new arrangements. These changes will come into effect in 2029. The coalition government introduced 100% relief from capital gains tax on business sales made to employee ownership trusts, creating a route for gains to go completely untaxed when businesses are sold. I will reduce that relief to 50%, retaining a strong incentive for employee-owned companies. And as we work towards doubling the size of the cooperative economy, the Department for Business and Trade will launch a call for evidence on how we can better support co-ops to grow. Because of the changes that I have made to capital gains tax this year and last year, receipts are forecast to increase from £14 billion this year to £30 billion by 2030. To support our high streets, I am announcing a package of regulatory changes as called for by UK Hospitality and the British Retail Consortium. And I will support the Great British Pub through our new national licensing framework, encouraging councils to back our pubs and to back late-night venues with greater freedoms. For business rates, I will introduce permanently lower tax rates for over 750,000 retail, hospitality and leisure properties, the lowest rates since 1991, paid for through higher rates on properties worth more than £500,000, like the warehouses used by online giants. Alongside this, I will introduce a package of support worth over £4.3 billion over the next 3 years for a property of any size seeing a large increase in their bill. And to support a level playing field in retail, I will stop online firms from undercutting our high street businesses by ensuring customs duty applies on parcels of any value. I will reform our motoring taxes, exempting search and rescue vehicles from vehicle excise duty as called for by my honourable friends, the member for the Western Isles and for Whitehaven and Workington. And because all cars contribute to the wear and tear on our roads, I will ensure that drivers are taxed according to how much they drive and not just by the type of car they own, by introducing the electric vehicle excise duty on electric cars. This will be payable each year alongside vehicle excise duty at 3p per mile for electric cars and 1.5p for plug-in hybrids, helping us to double road maintenance funding in England over the course of this Parliament. And alongside this, I am providing support to boost our British car industry, increasing the threshold for the expensive car supplement on electric vehicles to £50,000, saving over 1 million motorists £440 a year. Providing £1.3 billion additional funding for the electric car grant, extending it to 2030 and taking total funding to £2 billion, as well as delaying changes to the employee car ownership scheme. In addition, we're investing a further £200 million to accelerate the rollout of EV charging, as well as 100% business rates relief for EV charge points for the next decade, with thanks to my honourable friend, the member for Camborne and Redruth, for his representations on this policy. And I will improve competition in our taxi industry by ending ride-hailing companies' use of a discount scheme intended for coach tours, as called for by Steve McNamara, the General Secretary of the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association, legislating to restrict access so that everyone pays fairly and protecting £700 million of tax revenue each year. I am responding to our consultation on landfill tax, and listening to representations, particularly from our house building industry. I will not converge towards a single rate, but I will prevent the gap between the two rates from widening to balance the need to address tax avoidance in the current structure. I will today publish Ray McCann's report into the loan charge along with the government's response, setting out a new settlement opportunity that will finally allow people to finalise their position and draw a line under this long-standing issue. And I'd like to thank my honourable friend, the member for Milton Keynes Central, for her representations on this subject. I will continue with the planned uprating for tobacco duties that I set out last year and uprate alcohol duties by inflation, along with our plans to introduce a vaping products duty in 2026 and changes to the soft drinks industry levy announced by my right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, yesterday. And I'd like to thank the Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury for his work on all the tax measures in this budget. I will also reform gambling taxes in response to the rise in online gambling. Remote gaming is associated with the highest levels of harm. And so I am increasing remote gaming duty from 21% to 40%. With duty on online betting increasing from 15% to 25%. I am making no change to the taxes on in-person gambling or on horse racing. And I am abolishing bingo duty entirely from April next year. Taken together, my reforms to gambling tax will raise over £1 billion per year by 2031. As a result of the tax reforms I have made today, I can confirm that I will not be increasing national insurance, the basic, higher or additional rates of income tax or VAT. And I have kept everyone's contribution as low as possible through reforms to make our tax system stronger, closing loopholes, ensuring that the wealthiest pay their share, and building a tax system that is fairer for the future as our economy changes. On the day I became Chancellor, I said that I would judge my time in office a success if I knew that ordinary children from working class backgrounds were living more fulfilling lives. Their horizons expanded, their potential realised. I joined the Labour Party, I came into politics because I believe that every child has equal worth and deserves an equal chance to achieve their promise. The biggest barrier to equal opportunity is child poverty. Because for every child that grows up in poverty, our society pays a triple cost. The first and the heaviest is to the child. Going to school hungry, waking up in a cold home, or in another B&B. While other children enjoy the advantages of parents with time to help with homework, the quiet space at home to work in, too many go without. And there is also the cost of supporting a family in poverty, which ends up in the lap of overstretched councils, who can do no more than shunt them into temporary accommodation at huge cost to local taxpayers. Then there is the future cost to our economy and to our society, of wasted talent and a welfare system that bears the cost of failure for decades to come. Young people with so much to contribute, but whose potential is suffocated early by limited life chances and missed opportunities, struggling to make their way in a society that did not look out for them. I don't intend to preside over a status quo that punishes children for the circumstances of their birth and demands that we all pay 3 times over for it. Since last July, we've rolled out free breakfast clubs in schools. We're expanding free school meals to 500,000 more kids, lifting 100,000 children out of poverty as we do it. We've passed the Renters' Rights Act and we've extended the childcare offer. And I'm proud of all of that. But it's not enough. Because there is one policy that pushes kids into poverty more than any other. It was introduced by the party opposite. They said it would save money and that it would bring about behavioural change, disincentivising poorer families from having more children. Well, even on its own terms, it failed. The welfare bill has continued to rise, and there's been no difference in the size of families. But what it has done is to push hundreds of thousands of children into poverty since it was introduced. They said they were punishing parents' choices, but it's the kids who have paid the price. They've paid the price for the policies of a party which opted for cynical gimmicks over real savings in our welfare system. I understand that many families are finding times hard and that many kids have had to make difficult choices when it comes to having kids. And there are many reasons why people choose to have children and then find themselves in difficult times. The death of a partner, separation, ill health, a lost job. I don't believe that children should have to bear the brunt of that. And neither can I, in good conscience, leave in place the vile policy known as the rape clause, requiring women to prove if their child has been conceived non-consensually to receive support. I'm proud to be Britain's first female Chancellor of the Exchequer. I take the responsibilities that come with that seriously. I will not tolerate the grotesque indignity of women of the rape clause any longer. It is dehumanising, it is cruel, and I will remove it from the statute book. And so because I am tackling fraud and error in our welfare system, because I am cracking down on tax avoidance, because I am reforming gambling taxation, I can announce today, fully costed and fully funded, the removal of the two-child limit in full from April. We on this side of the house. It's amazing what people get so angry about, and we've seen their true colours today. The thing they get angry about is lifting children out of poverty.
Order. Our constituents will want to hear the Chancellor.
I think our constituents have heard all they need to from the party opposites today. We on this side of the House do not believe that the solution to a broken welfare system is to punish the most vulnerable. We are lifting 450,000 children out of poverty with the end of the two-child limit. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, combined with other actions we are taking, this Labour government is achieving the biggest reduction in child poverty over a parliament since records began. That is the difference that this Labour government is making. Madam Deputy Speaker, I know how worried families are about the cost of everything. Worried that their money won't stretch to the end of the month. Worried that price... I think if you've got a house that's worth £5 million a year, you can probably afford it. But you get more exercise about reducing child poverty than you do about the richest paying more. Under this government, wages have risen by more since we were elected than in 10 years under the last government, with lower interest rates already saving families £1,200 a year off a typical new mortgage, compared to that to when Liz Truss was Prime Minister. But I know that people still face pressure on their budgets day to day and week to week. And where there is more to do, where we can provide relief, we are doing it. Extending the bus fare cap, cracking down on rip-off price hikes, freezing prescription charges, and freezing rail fares for the first time in 30 years. I am increasing the basic and new state pension by 4.8%, an increase of £440 per year for the basic state pension, and an increase of £575 per year for the new state pension, in line with our commitment to the triple lock. At the election, we promised a genuine living wage, and we are delivering it. At the budget last year, I increased the national minimum wage and the national living wage, and I am doing the same this year too. Accepting the recommendations of the Low Pay Commission in full and increasing the minimum wage for 18 to 20-year-olds from £10 to £10.85 an hour, and increasing the living wage from £12.21 to £12.71 an hour. Under current plans, the temporary 5p cut to fuel duty that was introduced during the pandemic will come to an end in April, and fuel duty will be uprated in line with inflation. But I know that the cost of travelling to and from work is still too expensive. And so I am extending the 5p cut until September 2026. And because I know that changes in wholesale prices are not always passed on to motorists, I am bringing in new rules to mandate petrol forecourts to share real-time price rises through a new fuel finder, empowering drivers to find the cheapest fuel, calling out rip-offs and strengthening competition, saving the average household £40 a year. Madam Deputy Speaker, one of the greatest drivers of the rising cost of living is the cost of energy prices. The cause of high energy bills must be tackled at source, and so we are investing in energy security, in nuclear and renewable energy, and in insulation through our Warm Homes Plan. But that's not enough when people are struggling with energy bills today. The Conservatives' Eco Scheme was presented as a plan to tackle fuel poverty. It costs households £1.7 billion a year on their bills. And for 97% of families in fuel poverty, the scheme, get this, has cost them more than it's saved. It is a failed scheme, and so I am scrapping it, along with taking other legacy costs off bills. And as a result, I can tell you today that for every family, we are keeping our promise to get energy bills down and cut the cost of living. With £150 cut from the average household bill from April next year. Money off bills and in the pockets of working people, that is my choice. Not to neglect Britain's energy security like the Tories did, not to leave working families to bear the brunt of high prices like the Tories did, but to get energy costs down now and in the future. That is the Labour choice. And Madam Deputy Speaker, one more thing. Because of our action on bills and on prices, as a direct result of this budget, the Office for Budget Responsibility confirmed today that inflation is coming down faster and will be a full 0.4 percentage points lower next year. That's the benefit of a Labour government cutting the cost of living. Madam Deputy Speaker, this Labour government is changing our country. In the face of challenges on our productivity, I will grow our economy through stability, investment and reform. I've met my fiscal rules and built our economic resilience for the future. I have asked everyone to contribute, yes, for the security of our country and the brightness of its future. But I have kept that contribution as low as possible by reforming our tax system, making it fairer and stronger for the future. I have protected our NHS, maintaining public investment and driving efficiency in government spending. I've taken action on our broken welfare system, rooting out waste and lifting children out of poverty. And I have cut the cost of living, with money off bills and prices frozen, all while keeping every single one of our manifesto commitments. Those are my choices.
Order. Mr. Rankin, Miss Morton, your voice carries right across the chamber. Right across the chamber. Try and take a breath every so often. Chancellor.
Those are my choices. Not austerity, not reckless borrowing, but cutting the debt, cutting waiting lists, and cutting the cost of living. Those are Labour choices, promised and delivered by this budget, promised and delivered by this Labour government. And Madam Deputy Speaker, I commend this statement to the House.
Well. If you want to come off mute, maybe Amy, you're still on mute. Wow.
Sorry, my mouse went to sleep. What an event! I mean,
I know. The bit that kept coming up for me was this. Well, I'll paraphrase exactly what it was, but the taxpayers' money, and it basically she was saying it was forced to be spent on X, Y, Z. Haven't we just listened to our taxpayers' money being forced on a PR campaign? Like, if we really wanted this budget to make sense, surely we should be stopped attacking the opposition. That happens every year, and I have the same problem with every year. But this isn't a slinging competition. This should be an opportunity for us to actually understand it. Because I purposely didn't go. I didn't read any of the rumors and everything else. So.
Yeah,
She mentioned about the 2% dividend rise, but
pointless.
there's no detail around that, right? The business relief getting reduced to 50%, no detail around that. Like, there was just so little substance to it. And I know there'll be a nice little press article and we'll get the full detail there. But this is a time for her to explain it, right? Like, give some substance to why she's chosen that. Like, what was the reason behind it? Because that 2% dividend is another attack on our clients, right? And that sort of thing.
And property income, that's going to be...
I mean, I was looking at it, and obviously, first 40 minutes, not writing anything, just eat my popcorn, because it was just a massive, slagging match, to be honest, wasn't it? Really? And it irritates me that it's always, you did this. And I'm like, cool, we all know that they did that. We all live in this world. You don't have to keep reminding, just get on with it. But I've come away thinking, not just for my clients, but for me personally. I'm like, okay, I need more information to know what I'm going to do. I mean, she said about, we're going to save £40 a year on fuel, wasn't it, for fuel transparency? Because I think for me, I'm looking at cost of living for me, and we're going to do the same for our clients, but it affects us as well.
Yeah.
And offer £150 a year off of energy. I'm like, cool. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like it's going to help a lot of people. But I'm thinking about my own situation as well as my clients. But for our own situation, I'm like, dividends going to go up, property, taxes,
savings,
cap on salary sacrifice. Although she did say that was going to be 2029, didn't she?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a nightmare,
especially as it's 2,000, isn't it? She was saying, so you can still have salary sacrifice for the first £2,000 worth of contributions, and then it's going to be contributions above that are going to be taxed in the normal way, and that's going to be how do we manage that? I mean,
this is why we use software vendors, because trying to work that out ourselves is going to be a nightmare.
And that gives them time.
We keep saying that the payroll software, we want them to innovate, we want them to give us more so we can help more and deliver a better service, right? That's 2029 now. They've got to get this up and running for the do you know what I mean? There's always something for them more to do from a compliance point of view, which makes it difficult.
Anything that you think, I mean, under 25s apprenticeships,
that's the bit that I liked. That sounds good, because I mean, I've got two older children who are 18 and 20, and the job market is really, really difficult for kids of that age. So that would be welcome more. So what she said was funding to make training for under 25s completely free for small and medium businesses, and then various job guarantee, a youth guarantee, she called it. So they're guaranteed either a college place, an apprenticeship, or benefits, I guess, or a job perhaps. So
I think it was paid work.
Something that needs, paid. I didn't understand that bit. I mean, that I was distracting myself by trying to write notes. So I heard her say something about, what was it, paid work after 18 months or something? Or
I did hear a rumour that the government were going to pay salaries for a certain age range. So it might be that. So again, we'll have to go away and read the detail.
There definitely needs to be help in that sector, so that's good.
Yeah, let's just bring some of the community in, because I mean, Julie's fire here. The first one I got from Julie way back at the beginning was, so they're going to educate people on stocks and shares, all that left to us. Great point. And I again, the devil's in the detail, right? She said there was a 50,000 saving if you didn't put stocks and shares. So I thought, let's ask ChatGPT.
I'd like to know where they got that from.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
ChatGPT.
Well, I said, what if I put £1,000 in Apple shares for the last, and I only did 10 years. I think she was doing longer, wasn't she? If I put £1,000 in Apple shares, I would have got 885% total return. So not 100% sure where those numbers are coming from. Where £50,000,
and it will vary depending on where you're putting what funds you're investing in.
Yeah.
So that's a general. To
Julie's point about the education of it, that's where it's lacking, right? Yeah, you could throw it into an ISA and everything, but that's where we need to educate people, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
That's more the financial advisor route as well. I mean, I would direct my clients who have money to spare to put it in ISAs, but I'm not going to advise them on which ones.
But if they had that basic education at school level, at least they'll understand what they could make some decisions themselves. Because at the moment, people just don't know what stocks and shares even is and what
they are bringing that financial education in. There has been quite a lot of that recently. But too late for everyone who's missed out on it. Yeah, maybe our kids can teach us.
And then this one is my biggest win out of this, because I don't know about you lot, but the rumors I heard around was that we're going to get a £30,000 VAT rate.
I know. I was just thinking, just purely from the administrative point of view, we've got enough to do with MTD
ASAP,
having to bring in all of our small clients into VAT as well. And that would also obviously have affected everybody in terms of, consumers, that extra 20% on all of our, on so much more costs would have affected all of us. So just personally as well. So quite relieved about that.
Star of the show, couldn't agree more.
I love her. I love her.
And when we heard that, I've completely forgot his name now, but when we heard order when he was leaving, I was like, there's no replacement. Like, this is she's been brilliant.
The fact she went straight in with the naming and shaming. Fair play.
And every time you took more popcorn.
When did it actually have any? I was like, give me popcorn. I need popcorn for this. So they ran out and got it. But
response would be interesting. Couldn't agree more.
State pension increase as well.
Yeah, the ISA reform. We need devils in the detail, don't we? I mean, it's a good idea, but I don't know.
Well, she hasn't abolished the 20k or cut that. It's the split of it. So only 12k in a cash ISA, and then you can still have another 8k. But then that is still quite a lot of money and will not be helping the people on lower incomes. So
no,
who don't have 20k a year to put into savings.
My frustration with all these schemes, it's really hard to get your current investments into those schemes, right? And and it becomes you've got to weigh it up of, well, do I suffer maybe some capital gains now to then move it in? And but then I guess these schemes are not designed for people who have. It's to encourage you to start investing, isn't it? April 2027 auto enrollment assessment. They didn't mention it at all, did they? I didn't.
No, I didn't get that. Yes, and for over 65s, they do still get the full 20k cash ISA, which is interesting because over 65s, that surely it's only going to be the really wealthy over 65s who are going to be earning enough to put 20k a year into savings. So they're not going to be workers, are they? Because
But I guess
over
they're trying
65.
to, maybe they're trying to make the most out of pension pots. I don't, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's what do you do with your pension when it comes out? I think that's what they're trying to tackle. Okay, Susanna, you go first. Like, what was your highlight that we haven't of it, or something else you want to bring into the conversation? Go for it.
Well, the one that we hadn't sort of heard too many rumours about was the 2%. So on basic, higher and additional rate on property, dividends and savings. I mean, so for landlords, I know, I've got quite a few landlord clients, I know they were worried about the rumours about national insurance, so they haven't got that to deal with. But the 2% is going to batter them a little bit more. But then I suppose, that it's not working income. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I just think she had a hard job to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that job. I don't have the answers.
But isn't it working income on the dividends though? Because it kind of comes to me that
dividends is I was focused
on I understand when you've got this huge portfolio and you're already but what we see it more than anything else is our clients who that's their main form of income, right? And now suddenly
the dividends, I guess, is a lower rate from normal income tax anyway, whereas property, I was thinking, is the same as normal income tax. So
it's going to shift. We need Rebecca Bennyworth, don't we, to redo all the calculations?
So much now, should we be self-employed or should we be owner-managed businesses?
We're going to have to redo
tax efficiency. You're not going to do it for tax efficiency reasons now. We were saying that before this increase.
Yeah.
And did she say when that's effective from? I'm assuming April, but she didn't actually say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to talk about what kind of calls, because a lot of people are here, accountants, bookkeepers, they're going to get the calls. Definitely going to get calls about the property, because I've got people that have got 1 or 2 properties. They've been debating it. They haven't necessarily had good tenants. I'm not actually making money out of it. All I feel like I'm doing is
MTD
paying tax.
pressure.
Yeah.
The tax going up. I do think some people it's going to have a knock-on effect, because there's not going to be as many properties for people to rent, and so many people can't afford to buy. So I think that's going to impact. I will get directors calling about the dividends, and should I go to sole trade? All those people that are still are sole traders, should I go limited? I spoke to one this morning. I said, let's wait and see what happens. They'll probably stay sole trade and just deal with the quarterlies. I will have to let Rebecca. I see Kirsty's just commented, Queen Rebecca's doing a summary tomorrow.
Is it an Intuit? Is it a QuickBooks one? I think I've seen that floating around.
I'll be tracking it down.
There's a QuickBooks one as well,
Yeah.
I love the Rebecca just goes into the detail and just like,
that's what we need, right?
This threshold, this bracket, sole trader, this bracket, limited company, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
One thing that's not massively tax related is she seemed to insinuate there's less potholes. There are not.
I noticed that. Yeah, there's loads around here.
All right. I'll be paying 3p per mile going forward, so they'll all be fixed soon.
Yes,
not miles I'm doing lately.
So how is that going to work? Are you going to have to take a screenshot of your dashboard with your before and after? I mean, how are they going to measure the mileage?
Really interesting, right? Like how is it based on your MOT maybe in between and for?
Yeah, sure, probably. I guess so. But she said, due at the same time as your. Due at the same time as your road tax. So if your MOT and your road tax are staggered, it can't. Yeah, we'll see.
Just because we've had this big one in, Andrew. Hello, Andrew. How are you doing? So many questions, lots of style over substance with the announcement. That's my frustration, right? Like, why are we having digs at the at the opposition? Why are we trying to earn brownie points here? Like, we've got a whole. The next election's not for ages away, right? We don't need to keep digging. We don't need to do what we needed, as Andrew's saying here. We needed an opportunity to explain why. Like, give us some reasons behind it. Like, she's saying we've all got to contribute, but why are we tackling in my view, like the owner managed businesses, like why are we tackling them? Like what have they done that you know, going through from there? What does this mean for those occupying them as budget? Will need to be allocated. Yeah, good point. Or did I miss that? Adding a fee to online shopping under the guise of helping the high street, but those families with lower incomes. Yeah, 100%. And this, I mean, the one I wrote down was custom duties on everything that goes in. Like, how is that going to be? The whole point is it's an administration nightmare. That's why. That's the only reason we have that. It's not to avoid tax. It's not to anything else. It's just because if you're sending a pencil from one place to another, why are you paying income tax on it? Duty tax on it. So, and I know they're making it simpler and more straightforward, but it's still, the system is still so complicated. So, and all that's going to mean is for our smaller businesses, they're just not going to send it. Like, it's already so complicated with the EU VAT rules now. It's already so complicated with. We're stifling our economy to the smaller businesses not being able to sell abroad, right? That's the end of the end of it all. As Julie says, thanks so much, all going to comfort some clients.
I know. I've had a couple of calls
hashtag
already.
we're in this together, right? Hashtag we're in this together. MOT difference, potentially, but then electric cars don't need an MOT. There's all sorts of stuff here, but like
questions.
It's supposed to be years and stuff. They don't, do they? Good news about freezing train fares. That was a nice one that I picked
I missed
up.
that.
That was good news. Yeah, she said they're going to be freezing train fares, extending the bus fare cap.
Oh yeah.
So that's.
Do we need to freeze train fares or bring them down though? Because there was a report the other day about. Going from Cardiff to London is £30,000 a year.
It's just crazy.
Holy moly, that's insane.
Maybe 20 then, maybe, but I mean, still obscene, right?
It's okay. Switch to car. We're going to say £40 a year. Switch to your car.
No, unless you're electric.
Unless you're electric, and then that's.
And then people like me, that's it. I'm paying £6,500 a year now. I don't know what the numbers are.
Aaron, your job. Tell us what car to have. Next. What's the best thing? Or train, or bus.
Why hybrid's only 1.5? That got me. Like, I'm sorry, but anyway, I got my high horse. Not all about me. But look. I think it could have been a lot worse.
Yes.
I think that's what we've got to take away from this, in my opinion. The dividend ones hurt. And I feel for it because Amy, you know more than me. Did TaxCal, don't they have like can't you do like, you can go to a different tax year and it gives you like impacts and stuff? I made that up. They've got
a what if planner. They've got a what if. You can go to a future period, a what if planner.
I think they are so important in this, right? All your landlords out there, right? This is going to have to be so they can make that decision. Every owner managed business getting dividends out. What is that what if planner? I think that technology there absolutely going to be gold mine to us because these impacts are so critical at this point in time, right? And I feel like that's what we need to do. We need to come up with numbers and facts and figures. Not just tell everyone you're going to save £50,000 by, or you've lost out on £50,000. Like, give us some facts and figures around that because I don't believe you. So
yeah, it's nuts. It will be a lot of projections for I'll be looking at myself as well.
Well, this is it. It affects us all personally as well as from a business perspective, and for our clients, for their businesses, it's the personal impact as well that we've got to think about.
Did anyone get what the business relief? So from 100 to 50%, like
yes. So I wasn't 100% sure of that. Is that on selling a business, the capital gain?
Yeah.
But where's the detail around that? Because
there was no detail. It was completely like mentioned as an aside, I thought.
Right. Okay. Well, that's why we need Rebecca.
Again, that's another one we'll need to find out about.
There was too much fluff at the start, and it set us up. So I was like distracted by the whole toing and froing that I feel like I've probably missed something. So I definitely remember hearing that, and it was something about selling a business. Yeah. So well, we'll come back. We'll get the summaries. I'll be getting a tax summary out to my clients and reading that in the morning, and then we'll probably all head to Rebecca Bennyworth.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
We need her on here.
Did you also pick up on the new powers for HMRC to pursue promoters of tax avoidance schemes
Yes.
and stuff like that and fraud, which that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, because we need them to do that other than make it more complicated to get the relief that should be there, like R&D, for example, right? It's so difficult to get your R&D relief, creative industry tax relief, all of that sort of stuff, so difficult because they've had to, right? They've had to make it more complicated. They've had to restrict it because there's so many bad eggs. I like the idea, though. Let's stop making it restrictive. Let's tackle the bad eggs. Well up for that.
And it just makes our jobs, hopefully, it makes those conversations where we're sent to clients, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't claim that. And I have a lot of conversations with clients, and they'll say, yeah, but I know somebody else who's doing it. And you know,
all the time.
Think, we need HMRC to be investigating these people because we feel like we're the police all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well, that is at time. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for commenting. Thank you everyone for putting some stuff. I've really enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys have too.
Yeah, it was fun watching with everyone.
Yeah, it's something new, right? And this is what the Watch series is all about. We're agile. We'll get on the big topics when we need to. We'll come through. And yeah, this is at least, I mean, the hashtag I put together for this was, we're in this together, right? And that's what this is all about. Yeah. So yeah, we don't know the answers here because we don't have the details, but at least we can all have the same sort of questions and pushing through from there. So Amy, where can people find you, etc., etc.?
Find me on LinkedIn. I've done some events lately. December's a lot calmer, so people that contact me, I'll have more time to reply. But yeah, just to echo, it's been really good having everyone comment and interact with us as we go along and do this. So yeah, I've really enjoyed today. So thank you everyone for watching.
Definitely. And Suzannah, where can people find you?
Yeah, on LinkedIn as well. And also just a little bit of promotion. ICB are doing an MTD in-person event on the 9th of December in London.
Next week or week after, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, not this Tuesday, but not Tuesday coming, but the following. And I'm going to be on a panel there talking about MTD as well. So if you're ICB, I think it might only be ICB members. I'm not 100% sure. They haven't talked that much about it. All the focus was on the summit, so I need to actually go and look and find out more myself.
Mahul was talking about it all day yesterday. That's what he was telling about his final one of the season. Yeah, 9th of December. So get yourself prepared for Christmas by talking about MTD and listening to Suzannah on a panel. I love that. Love that. And then Paul says, Ingram says, thank you for doing this session. No, thank you. Thank you for joining us. No point doing this if no one's going to watch. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. Brilliant. Well, and that's it from me. I think this is pretty much, this definitely be our last MTD watch series before Christmas. So I hope you all have a good Christmas, etc., etc. We will be back in the new year for a whole new series. We'll be back on the MTD bandwagon. Do not worry about it. But no, thank you all for watching throughout the year. We've got more ASIC and content coming your way, so keep an eye on that, including our bonus show, which will hopefully have both Amy and Suzannah on if we can get the timings right on that one. We're going to be talking all about our favourite swag, and maybe there isn't swag that you want to promote, but there will be. That's what our conversation is going to be. So keep an eye out for that bonus show. Keep out for all the socials on the network. We've got a very exciting grid walk coming up. That maybe someone over here was involved in, so we'll get that one out to you as well, and go from there. Part of me feels like we should be at the ICB event, just do a grid walk, but anyway, I'm speaking out loud. Intrusive thoughts, everyone. Intrusive thoughts. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for this event. See you all soon. Have a good Christmas, New Year, all that sort of stuff. If you only watch us, watch series, and we'll see you in the new year for the next watch series coming back. But yeah, final bit, everyone, if you like this, please comment, like, and all that sort of stuff. The more interactions I get, the more realistic we're going to come back and deliver this again. So yeah, and we've enjoyed it, so we want to do it again. So going from there. Cheers, everyone. Speak to you all soon. Awkward moment where I try and find the thingy button. Bye.